here's the question to you. Now, do you feel like Rockefeller broke up because of R. Kelly? Because based on a lot of stuff that we're hearing now, and you just saw Dame Dash interview with Nick Cannon and stuff like that, it seems like Aaliyah, who met Jay-Z first and was a friend, but became a lover of Damon Dash, had a known past with R. Kelly, and Dame Dash stated that he's a bad person. I don't want to talk about him. You shouldn't. I don't want you dealing with it or whatever. And then, based on Dame Dash, the way he was talking, he started seeing things in a different light. But then they also stated that, or Funk Flex, the person he is, stated that things got rocky after Dame Dash tried to, or I'm not gonna say what he did, but something happened with Beyonce, his girlfriend at the time. So my question to you is, based on the interview you saw with Dame Dash and the things that you do know, do you think that was the first step in the demise of Rapha-El Records, the R. Kelly?
Absolutely, because it's like that's supposed to be your man. So your man is supposed to ride with you. You know what I mean? Especially when they know, if you notice the same things that's been going on behind the scenes, but you choose to, have a blind eye towards it, of course it's going to cause dissension. So yeah, I think that was definitely, a contributing factor to the demise of Rockefeller for sure.
Now, could it be that it could just be business and we gotta look past it? Because a lot of people was getting on Dame Dash for saying he never was messing around anything that deals with R. Kelly, but of course he was in the Fiesta video, and the Fiesta video was kind of in the beginning before they actually started doing the albums, and you didn't see Dame Dash around after. Do you believe that it could be looked past because of business? Because they are in the music business, and at one point he was in the Fiesta video, but after that you didn't see him around. And he did state that, and we're talking about Damon Dash, he did state that he didn't want the money, he wanted to go to Aaliyah's charity and stuff like that. Do you think that it could have been a way of moving past the emotional point about it and just dealing with the business, since you know what it is now with it being business? Because what I mean by that is, if it's presented to you that they're going to work together and do this project, then you know it's business. If you already know how you feel about R. Kelly, couldn't he just move on and just treat it as business and not be personal? Because it is business and personal.
I don't think so. You know what I mean? Because I think once a person's character is in question, you know what I mean, that you can't look past that. You know what I mean? That's always going to be at the forefront. So, no, I don't think business, can supersede, how you really feel. You know what I mean? Because eventually it's going to come out anyway. So it's like, it's going to crumble. Especially when you feel a certain type of way, about a situation. I mean, the character is always going to, trump, and just like he said, it wasn't about the money. You know what I mean? It's about the moral part of it. You know what I mean? The moral part of this person. And basically, it's almost like, you know what? F you in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, dang, how can you really be my man if you're supporting that, knowing how I feel about it. So no, business, business and money's not gonna make that better.
I'm torn with that. Not saying that business. So what I mean by that is, just to clarify, I'm not saying that business and money makes it better, like it's better business for Damon Dash. But they're in the business of making money, and R. Kelly at the time doing business doing an album. Come on, the king of R&B and the king of hip hop, king of rap, hip hop at the time.
Yeah, I know.
That's a crazy combination.
It was two of them,
right? So it made better business, and maybe things was maybe because they tried it twice. Remember, they did it twice. It wasn't one album. If anybody knows, it was 2 albums. So they had 2002, Best of Both Worlds, and then 2004, Unfinished Business, right? And you know, Trackmasters put it together. You know, it was a combination type thing. But I think 2004 project didn't really hold the weight like they wanted to. But the first one had people. 2002 people had, you know, they wanted that. And Ego is what was told that got involved. Ego on the R. Kelly Kim side, and just R. Kelly in general, was what kind of messed that up. But not to put Jay-Z in a certain light, but it always been, and probably still can keep going on, especially after the Damon Dash interview, which Nick Cannon asked him a question, wasn't Jay-Z. But can these two people be kind of the same? And let me finish asking this question. Jay-Z and R. Kelly are about 3 years apart, 2.5 years apart. So they're from the same, you know, time frame. One's from Chicago, one's from New York City, both two big cities. I always said that Philadelphia was my second best city, but if I had to pick a third, it would be Chicago, because it feels like I'm in New York City in certain parts. Now, they both were successful, but they both had iffy past. And I don't mean iffy with just what R. Kelly's dealing with, but just iffy past, you know what I mean? Growing up, you know, just different things. But when the whole Foxy Brown thing comes into play, and at one point, you know, they tried to say that Foxy Brown was getting sexually taken advantage of by Jamie Foxx and Jay-Z, which it was weird. I mean, but people swore by it, and I can't say they wrong. Can't say they lying. But it's been stated, and you heard this because we all hip-hop fans, that Jay-Z was hitting Foxy Brown. Nas said it in a beef, like people been saying it. So at the time, that would be 26. Yeah, he would be 26 at the time recording the album, 26, 27. And she's like 15, 16. R. Kelly was 27 and Leah was 15. So,
right.
Let's say that Dame Dash came to Jay-Z and was like, look, man, you know I don't rock when we did with Leah. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, because maybe back at that time,
but it is common.
Dudes did.
Yep.
And I just finished telling someone the other day that when I was in high school, and it's still probably happening in high school now, the baddest girl that's in high school was not dealing with us. She was dealing with the dudes that was on the blocks, or the dudes that was, and they was older, 21, 22, 24, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They bodies were mature as hell. They wasn't mature, and they was doing what they doing. Now, she wasn't against it, and they wasn't. You know what I'm saying? So they did what they did, and it was common. Not saying it's right, but if you take, the only difference would be, it is common. It's definitely common. So you've seen the same thing too. So if you take the statute and say you can, 18 is legal now, right? Because in other countries, forget about it. It ain't 18.
Oh, you're right. I agree.
You could be 15 smashing anybody of any age. You know what I mean? 14. When I lived in Germany, you could smoke at 14. You could buy liquor. I think it was like 15 or something like every country has a different standards. Which I always say, man, if you gonna just do this, you might as well go to another country where it's legal, right? But it's just, it's a countrywide. It's not. So I could be like, yo, it's not morally right because you're dealing with a 17-year-old, But then somebody else from another country be like, what are you talking about? We start at 15. So I am morally right. You know what I'm saying? So maybe Jay-Z looked at Dame Dash. Maybe Jay-Z looked at Dame Dash like, you bugging, man. Like, I don't know everything, but this is what we do. You feel me? You know how I go. Maybe that was his thought process.
Yeah, but see, no. Yeah, I think it was more to that. Just having a intimate relationship. I think it was a little bit more. So that's what makes that different.
So could Jay-Z be R. Kelly as far as that aspect? Because, you know, it's the same age, yo. Ain't that crazy? Look, 2 singers, 2 rappers, 2 grown-ass men, 2 teenagers. Later on, they both on top, and they both happen to do albums together, as one as the king of R&B and one's the king of rap. What's the coincidence?
I hear you. I hear you. You know what I mean? That's crazy, right? That's a valid point.
So I know Dame Dash got upset, and it makes sense when they get upset, but maybe he just didn't understand the mind of that type of person. And I'm not saying Jay-Z is once again, we just said it. It was the norm. It was the norm to be in your 20s, and I wasn't in my 20s then and did it, because it kind of changed later on. But you kind of do what your environment does, right? When you're in Rome, do what the Romes do. Let's be real. Now, outside of something like homosexual or whatever, right? Because that's more of a, it's different energy. But outside of that,
deviant. It's a deviant energy. But go ahead.
Well, I'll let that before. We'll have that conversation later on.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of that, if you 21 and you got a 15-year-old shorty, if it's normal, nobody ain't thinking about that. If that's what's going on, you doing what everybody else doing. You know what I mean? Well, she good. Well, her body's good enough, because that's what most cats seen, the body. And I remember this one. I was in high school with her. She was like 2 years younger than me. Yo, her body looked like these girls that got silicone, all that stuff right now. And this was she was 15. Though the dude had to be 23 years to come pick up. The drug dealer dude, you know how it is. And that's another reason why we do things for women. So a lot of us like, man, I can't get her. I gotta go get this money. You know what I'm saying? Because we do stuff for women. But I wonder what the whole time frame of Jay-Z and R. Kelly, because like I said, they 2.5 years apart. So it's the same time frame, right? They could have been in high school together, senior and sophomore, whatever. Freshman, junior. R. Kelly obviously got an issue. But as far as just that, dealing with the young and all that, I wonder if it's just a norm, so it's like he brushed it off like whatever. Because who knows if he known about what Aaliyah said. Now, granted, Dame Dash could have said it to him. But once you made your mind up, you sticking with that. You know what I'm saying? So if he made his mind up about doing business with son, and and then once again, we saying business now, and I get it. Now, here's my thing. Is it easier to switch up? Like, imagine Jay-Z go back to Damon Dash and Jay-Z had a conversation. Yo, son was foul. Aaliyah, that's your friend too. She told me all this stuff. She's not here no more. But Jay-Z already did the business deal with R. Kelly. Jay-Z's a businessman. Matter of fact, he's not a businessman. He's a businessman, right? So, does it make sense for that man who's about business to go back and say, you know what, I can't do this with you, R. Kelly? Does it make sense? Based on who the man is? Now, morally, we talking about one thing, but we're talking about the businessman. I don't see him going back and saying, nah, I'm not going to do this because Aaliyah.
It wasn't like they didn't have, it wasn't like he didn't already have business established. It wasn't like they wasn't popping in every area. I mean, they had all kind of stuff going on. You know what I mean? So it's like.
But what if they already did the deal already though? Do you take back from the deal? You know what I'm saying? Because obviously they did the deal already. They already did they started doing the work and everything. Track master. It was already. It's kind of weird because I could just see, because Tone and Poke, if y'all don't know who Trackmasters is, do the math. Steve Stout is the one that managed Trackmasters, that got them on. They did the whole second album of Nas's album stuff, and it's been around for years. That was Trackmaster's main thing, to put things together and make it click. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't Steve Stout thing or whatever. It was Trackmaster's. Then yo, let's get. Like, I mess with Kels. That was the whole. They was doing the click thing. It wasn't about what people do in their personal life, right? It was about the music, and let's make this business happen. Let's make this rock. So it's kind of weird, or would be weird, for Jay-Z to go back and be like, I can't do this because of so-and-so, especially based on how Dame Dash used to carry himself. I think they probably had a breaking up, and it started with the Aaliyah thing, but also we all know that Dame Dash wasn't the easiest person, the most likable person. And he had his reason, but people can't see your reason when you yelling like that, right? You can't, nobody can't see everything. We always say this. You respect somebody more if they talking to you calm. You lose your temper at somebody, it don't matter what the hell you saying. You could be saying, these niggas coming right now about to kill you. Hey, listen, somebody's about to come kill you. You need to move. Word? Or somebody screaming, oh, you need to move right now, motherfucker. They looking at you like you stupid. It's confusion. So let's say that possibly, we ain't gotta say that. At that time, Dame Dash was an asshole. Everybody know it. Everybody concurs. So maybe Jay wasn't looking at the whole moral side of it. Like, my nigga, come on. Maybe Jay was already trying to break off. Maybe things was already going sour. You feel me? And he wasn't thinking about morally, you know what I mean, my brother and all this stuff. Maybe it was different. But it's just weird that these two men are pretty much the same men. It's just one continued, you know, on. And look, Beyonce is not young, but Jay-Z is 49, Beyonce is 34. That's young. They're adults though. But people still frown on somebody that is, 21, somebody that's 36 and somebody that's 21. People frown on that shit all the time. But she's adult, right? People can't stand that. That's 15 years apart. So I just wonder if that was the reason why they broke it, you know, to start having a demise. And second, because R. Kelly and them, you remember that the tape came out. The first album was 2002. They doubled up in 2004. Now I can see that being the real, like, come on, my man, you see this and you still coming back, right? But you know, they had that conversation before the 2004. He even stated that, like, when it first had, he's like, yo, it was on. But my thing is, why double up?
Of course. Yeah,
I think they like the same people. And I love Jay-Z as an artist. I don't know him personally. Never met him. I've been around him, but I never, like, personally met him, being up in the label and stuff like that. But I wonder, and, you know, he gonna stay silent. Jay-Z's smart. He stays silent all the time. He don't, you know, the more you say, the more people can pull out from you. You know that? You know that. So he stays silent. You know what I mean? Damon Dash like Damon Dash didn't even, you looked at the interview with Nick Cannon. Damon Dash was telling the truth from his truth as far as like how Jay-Z did it, but he was getting asked questions. I do hate when they say that Dame Dash always talking about Jay-Z, but he don't never bring him up. Somebody's always asking him a question about that situation.
No, if anything, you know, Dame Dash is always, you know, saying, don't ask me about Jay-Z. He don't even want to talk about it. He wants people to ask Jay-Z. Whatever they want to know about Jay-Z, they need to ask Jay-Z. He always says that in every interview. Don't ask me. He don't even want to speak about that.
And so when Nick Cannon brought the Foxy Brown thing, he said he didn't understand. Now people saying you knew what he was talking about, but maybe he didn't, because he really was just in his own world. You look at his disposition was, you know, but I think that along with Jay-Z, the businessman, wanting to have his own, which I heard Dame Dash say, you know, my man wanted to have his own. But I'll be honest with you, it makes sense. Look, most groups break up because somebody wants to have their own. And we talking about artists. Jay-Z was in a business situation, but he's an artist. He wants to run his own ship. I'm not even mad at him for wanting to do that. I get how Dame Dash should be like, yo, you breaking up the foundation. But if there is 100% and 3 pies getting cut, and you're the main person, you can have your own 100%. That's basically what Damon Dash is talking about, being a boss, being your own boss, right? So I get why he felt some type of way, because it probably was wrong how it was going on and all the fight he did for him. But that's what Damon Dash preaches.
But yeah, but I think I think there's a way to do things though. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's the fact that, you know, someone wants to break off and do their own thing. It's how they did it. I think that's where the issue lies.
I get you. And the thing is, back in them days, that was my heydays of being up in there. And the thing about it is, if you ask 10 different people who Damon Dash was back then, they'll give you 10 different answers. But the same thing will always be set in stone. And it could come in different ways of them saying it. The nigga's an asshole. So if you're an asshole to 10 different people, it may be somebody might say, man, that's my man, but he's a little asshole. Or somebody like, he's an asshole. You know what I mean? Like different ways of coming out straightforward or just undertone, you know, whatever. At the end of the day, you a problem. And if you a problem and you don't go with the whole norm, which we already know he was a problem he was already a different person, right? The way he's speaking now is the way he's speaking then, but it was a problem for them. So it's not good business. And then he was losing a lot of money, but he was taking chances. But when you take chances, you're taking chances with somebody else's money. And of course, Leo are going to come through and everybody else is going to be like, look, you the main person. We need to do this. I don't think Jay-Z was wrong for the way he moved, because they did get offered a situation. Even I guess Biggs don't even think wrong, because Biggs still mess with him, right? He talked about it on Drink Champs. It was business, like, yo, we all had the opportunity to take whatever, and we did what we had to do. So it's 3 people. One person feel wrong, one person don't, and the other person made the move. So who really was wrong? Now, I understand how Damon Dash can feel like it was wrong, because the way he's talking now is the same way he was talking back then. But could it have been that Damon Dash didn't see what he was doing to bring his own downfall down? He might have been doing too much talking. I mean, according to people, he was doing too much talking. When I used to be in them labels, he had his cousin Bobby Dash. Like, I used to be a lot familiar with them when they switched that over, whatever. Just with the people that was lot familiar, the A&Rs on that, Gordon, they was all the same people before. Like, it was the same individuals before they started breaking off and doing these things. You knew that Jay-Z was going to move forward. You could have seen that in 2001, that he was going to eventually be the head of his own situation. I don't know how Damon Dash couldn't have seen that. Everybody could see that. I'm not even talking about like a beef or issue. You could see that, because, you know what I mean? Like, he was groomed to become that. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't even. So if Jay-Z came to them and said, look, y'all can have everything, but I want reasonable doubt, I really don't see where that's wrong. If he's saying you can have all the masters of catalog, but I just want reasonable doubt, my first masterpiece, and you say no, and then he got to go back to drawing board and be like, well, look, this what is happening, boom. Then they like, now Def Jam like, well, look, this is going to be the offer now. Is he really wrong? That, I don't know how many albums Jay-Z did at that point, but That's a lot of albums versus one thing. And yeah, that's your baby, but who's the artist? Jay-Z is the artist. That's his baby too. He giving you the option to have Lifetimes, Blueprint 2. Come on, that's a lot of catalog. But you want to keep that. And look, this has been stated by Dame Dash and Biggs. Not Jay-Z, but everybody know. That was the offer. So, could things been different if he'd have took that offer and Jay-Z would have still been running, but he would have had the masses to what you call? They still could have controlled not everything else that Jay-Z did in the future. Because once again, he's the artist, so he could do whatever. But they still could have controlled In My Lifetime, Volume 1, 2, 3, Blueprint 2, Blueprint 2, Blueprint 3. You know what I mean? At that point, they had a lot of catalog. Like, they could have, but I wonder if it was ego. Because think about this. That's not bad business right there. We could all break up. I just want the one album. I'm about to be president of Def Jam. I want my one album. Y'all can have the rest of the masters. That ain't bad business to me, yo. This is not. Like, but I don't think that Dame Dash wanted to break up. And they always say, you said you could, you know, you can make a new hole, It never happened because it's not about, you can't recreate a Jay-Z, a Nas, a Eminem, or you can't recreate these people, a 50 Cent. It's just not, it's, you know, it doesn't happen like that. These are one in a lifetime situations. So I think the business was wrong from the mind state of Dame Dash. But I think the business was right from the mind state of Jay-Z. And then the business had to be right from the mind state of Biggs. Because he states all the time, we all had, you saw the Drink Chance, he said, we all knew what we got presented, and we all had the opportunity to take advantage, and we took advantage of what we agreed on. That was it. So he's telling it straight. Remember, it's always his word, you know, what he says, what she says, or vice versa, and then the truth. And it's like Biggs in the middle telling the truth. Like, yo, he ain't doing the emotional side. We all made a lot of money. We had the opportunity to take this off, we didn't. We took this. But you notice how Biggs is not hurting for money. And he went to jail for mad years. He came home. He's still doing his thing. Not saying that Dame Dash hurting for money, but he had to go through that, you know. He had to go through that whole... You don't see Biggs go through all that. You see him consistent and doing what he do. You know what I mean? So I feel like I love Dame Dash and what he talk about. But it's a part of me from being up there in that label and seeing how people talk and different things or whatever, and, you know, Be High, and Dame Dash is, not Dame Dash, Jay-Z's brother. Excuse me, Jay-Z's cousin, who is the dark version of Jay-Z. If you see him, you'll know what I mean. And anybody that's listening, you know what I'm talking about. He's the dark version of him. I used to do business with him, but we had a, like, not on something crazy, I ain't gonna lie, but it was it was before the digital era was coming out. We was trying to start something up, and I was doing events out in New York City, and something happened. We came downstairs and we had a big argument or whatever, but we left it alone, pieces up or whatever. But he was more grounded with business, and you don't even see him, but I know he's part of Rock Nation. He was more grounded with business and how to address situations than Damon Dash, and he was just a cousin. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always talk about energy. The energy you put out is going to come back, regardless of you saying the right thing or not. If you put out the wrong energy, you're going to get back bad energy, even though you're saying the right thing. And I think Damon Dash at one point got to an understanding of, like, yo, I know he has accepted that he was wrong, but he tried to justify it by what he was standing for, which he was standing for the right thing, but he was just standing on the wrong energy at the time. You know what I'm saying? And you notice everybody say the same. DJ Envy, Just Blaze, all of them be like, yo, you was the man, you did a thing, but you was also an asshole too. And that resonates across the board. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like people don't want to deal with assholes. So business-wise, it could be messed up. But then again, it's like dealing with a bad relationship, a woman. You like, man, she got the craziest body. I love having sex with the whole nine, but she just a fucking dickhead, yo. She get on my nerves majority of the times. You start forgetting about the sex and maybe the food she cooked for you. You know what I'm saying? All you think about is just how much she's a dickhead. That's what happened with Dame Dash, in my opinion. From being around it from time to time. You know what I mean? I remember Graf, who's a rapper from Queens. Shout out to Graf. If you hear this, he know me. And they was taping, I think it was the Art of Hustle, whatever, Dame Dash, when they first broke up the label, but then he was doing his BET thing. And we was, you know, I was in the city, and then I saw Graf, yo, what's up? And then Dame was right there. It's like, we taping this stuff or whatever, boom. He had opportunities to do other stuff. They even tried to do the whole, him and Biggs put a lot of money into, I forgot the name of it now, but they had this digital platform where they put millions into and it never took off. But it was like before its time, because Dame Dash like do things before its time, and it just didn't take off. But Jay-Z was the president. Biggs went to, according to the situation, the marijuana route. They went to what they both know. Dame Dash went to hustling and being him. Jay-Z went to music and being, you know, what he was growing to be. And Biggs went to other things. Dame Dash, you know, he had the Dame Dash record label. He had Beans. That didn't pop off. Beans went to jail. Jay-Z got ridiculed from being the president, taking all the money, and a lot of people was disgruntled with him. The Method Mans, the LL Cool J's, all that. And then Biggs ended up getting in trouble and getting locked up. Jay-Z still continues. He still is building his catalog. He's still building, and he's taking his team, right? So, to me, I don't feel like Jay-Z was wrong for the business, because there's so much you hear and so much you see and so much that, you know, it's three people. You don't like everything that people do. And he's an asshole across the board. But when they all had their opportunity to split and do their thing, regardless how it came out or what made it come out to be what Jay-Z has Rock Nation, all this stuff, whether it could be Steve Stout or Leo Cohen or anybody assisting him, he played his cards right. But according to Dame Dash, he played his cards right too, based on where he's at now. You get what I'm saying? With his daughter and life and everything else. So they all won at the end of the day. They all won. I don't get the riff. They won. So to me, sometimes when people ask Dame Dash and he say I don't want to talk about it, he do still talk about it, because in the Nick Cannon class he did talk about it.
True.
He came up with some stuff he talked about and was saying this. I can't tell a man how to do what he do, but I would just stop. I wouldn't say nothing about it at all. Period, no more. Because if you winning, you winning. Because you don't see Jay-Z talking about it. Biggs hardly try to talk. He try to brush it off when you hear. He like, you know what I mean? Like, we eating. It's a bit like, this is about business. Like, we was cool, then you know, we got uncool, and people grow. But my thing is, are these two people that's on the screen the same people? And that's R. Kelly on the left and Jay-Z on the right. That's the thing I'll be kind of, especially with all this stuff coming up. And when Nick Cannon insinuated it, he didn't say the R. Kelly, but he basically kind of was like fit the Foxy Brown thing. A lot of people don't get upset about it, but you gotta question it. You know what I'm saying? When Dr. Dre beat up Nikki, the radio host back in the day, he finally, people had to get on. He finally had to apologize for all the wrong, because this nigga was abusive. Dr. Dre is a known abuser to women Like, it ain't the first time. So he got to be accountable for that. So he is accountable. But I think in the future, yo, to be honest, unless Jay-Z stay in pocket, Jay-Z gonna be up next, yo. They gonna get at him. Give a couple years. They gonna get at Jay-Z about some stuff. Don't let Jay-Z and Beyonce break up or something. Like, you know, it's gotta be something crazy that happens to open up Pandora's box. But they gonna get at him. I feel like they gonna get at this man, right, just like they did Bill Cosby. Like, come on, man, because he too successful in black. Diddy eventually gonna get, they gonna get at him, yo. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna happen, because it's like, unless you keep playing that. Because look, when Cat Williams started talking that mess, what they consider mess, but he was talking truth, what happened? They made him crazy. When Dave Chappelle didn't want to do what they started doing, acting like he was crazy. You know how that go. So either you fall in line or you go against the grain, and then they make an example out of you. But I feel like that. But I mean, what do you feel about all that?
Hey, man, you make a lot of valid points. You know, I agree with you pretty much on every single one of them. So, you know, I mean, you laid it out.
I just be wondering, man. I be wondering, and I don't like, me and you both are the same. We got our own lives. Everybody that's listening, y'all got your own lives. It's not like we gotta actually care what's going on. But if you grow up around it, whatever, you see it, you kind of wonder. And some of y'all haven't been around. And I'm not gonna act like I work for Rapha-El or nothing like that. I just happen to have a magazine from New York City, running around back and forth, and with all these labels, seeing a lot of stuff that people didn't see. And in a lot of parties, as a magazine guy, as a street guy, as a music artist, lover, as a person that was shooting videos, just doing all types of stuff before I got on the internet. And I just seen a lot when New York City controlled the rap game. I mean, now it's Atlanta, but at that time I seen a lot when that controlled, and it was big buildings. It wasn't small buildings, it was big corporation conglomerate that was, I said that wrong, hold on, conglomerates that was running things. And then you go to Universal on 1755 Broadway, and then you go to Universal that's on the Microsoft building side. It was like different. It was just a whole, it was different back then. There was more control for the majors, and I think now is the greatest time for independent artists to be out there and do what they got to do. But this right here is, I just feel like R. Kelly is not the last, and more will come. He wasn't the first, and he's not the last.
And he certainly wasn't the first. And that's the thing. You know, like you said, it's been going on for so long. It's going on, you know, presently. You know, it's going to continue to go on. So it's like, you know, but, you know, people are picking and choosing. You know, and then going hard at it too, when it's like, oh, well, you know, like you said, I mean, it's been happening. How come you ain't condemning this other, you know, this man or woman?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? For what they did.
Exactly. Why I gotta pick and choose? Why we gotta go after just this person now, when we know everybody else has been doing, you know? I don't like, me personally, not saying it can't happen. You show me proof. But I think this person right here, I think Russell Simmons probably did a lot of stuff back in the day. He was on a lot of drugs. He never denied it. He was an asshole to some extent, but not an asshole to some extent. And I think he did some aggressive stuff. Do I think he sexually assaulted some women? Yeah, because it was just, like we said, the times. And sexual assault is, like I said, I could go to somebody and just be like, y'all want to fuck you. That's sexual assault. We ain't thinking like that. We know you might be on your drugs, maybe whatever. Or you could just be a regular dude. You know, the time frame. even with the Bill Cosby thing, I'm not condoning what he did. But what I do hate, and I'm not saying this because he's quote unquote a black man. This is, I don't care who it is. I'm just across the board with it. I hate when it's 2015, 16, 17, 21st century, and we talking about stuff from the 20th century, and we acting like the game wasn't different. Like if it's the 60s and everybody don't have color TV and everybody doing coke. Coke is normal. You know what I'm saying? And everybody doing everything else. 40 years from now, not saying it's not wrong, but what was the climate of that time? Is if now you're saying that he drugged me and he raped me, or he drugged me and had sex with me, or I took drugs from him and he had sex with me, or I wasn't really feeling good but he told me to come to his house, or whatever. But at that time, that's what they was doing, and that's the...
Yeah, see, no, you're right, and it's the picture that's painted, you know what I mean, nowadays, which most likely wasn't the same picture back then. You know what I mean? Like you said, back then it was free. Everybody was having fun. You know, it was nothing. That's just what it was. But now it's like they're painting a picture to in a certain way that doesn't depict the way it was back then. Again,
and I'm not saying,
we're not saying,
and I know you're not saying that.
We're not saying we condone anything.
Exactly.
We're not. But you do gotta, consider that. You know what I mean? And take a step back and realize that it was a different time. You know? And so now...
Different time. The 60s and 70s way different.
So you're painting a picture of how society is now, you know what I mean, to what society was then, and it really doesn't match up. And again, we're not condoning anything, but I'm just saying that we're not comparing apples to apples here.
Yeah, it's not. There you go. That's the main thing. That's what it is. It's not compare apples to apples, orange to oranges. It's different time frames. You can't say, listen, if there was no women's rights back in the 60s and they was doing wild stuff to them, which I don't think that was right anyway. But say this was. I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying it wasn't women's right back then, but say it wasn't handicap rights for people that had wheelchairs, and a guy with a wheelchair, a guy that was handicapped, got pushed off. He got pushed down because he was going too slow. And now in 1980, it started giving handicapped people rights, so you can't do stuff like that. But in 69, the dude got pushed and fell off. Now in 2010, he's like, I want to sue this dude because he pushed me. But it wasn't the rights at the time. Not saying it wasn't wrong, but it's still. So how can you go back and sue this man when it wasn't like that? Or if you did say you did have a an infraction against him, which if you guys don't know, that's like getting a ticket or something like that, right? If you had one of those situations, but it was supposed to be sealed, how can you unseal it 20 years later, 30 years later, because now the time is different? That's my point when it comes down to some of these things that's going on with these R. Kellys and all this other stuff. And, I want to say R. Kelly, the Bill Cosby, and anybody else, it's all about timing. Like, if we were in the Stone Age when we was barbaric and we were just knocking chicks over and having sex with them or whatever, boom, boom, and that's what this time was, or chicks was knocking us out and stealing, whatever the time was, that's the time. We can't say they were nasty as hell back then. They were just so barbaric. Like, it was the time. Now, it's never right to be a grown man and still be a grown man or woman and take from a child sexually or anything from. It's never right. But when I said the whole thing about women and young women in high school who are getting picked up by younger adults, you know, 20 and stuff. Because I never personally seen, I know it happens, I never seen like a 30-year-old nothing come pick up somebody from my high school, whatever. I used to always see like 21-year-olds, 22, you know, young drug dealer niggas like that with the car come grab them up. And they might, like I said, the girls I seen was like 16, 17, 18, but their bodies was just, you know, crazy. So, you know, it matched or whatever. But they was willingly going, you know. Not saying the guy that was wrong or whatever, but you know, R. Kelly stuff and all that, and a lot of these women that was speaking on docuseries, going back to R. Kelly, wasn't in their right mind and didn't really concur with the stuff that was going on. But he did the pimp thing. He manipulated them. He got in their mind. When I was in high school, these chicks wasn't getting manipulated. Well, maybe you can call manipulation because they got the car and all that type of stuff. Or maybe you can say that I say they was bamboozled, right? Because they wanted that. You know what I'm saying? Now, could it be the parents' fault or whatever because they didn't raise them or whatever? Whoever knows. But it wasn't getting pimped. They wanted to have a good time, and they wanted to have a good time, and they doing what they got to do. I wasn't in the bedroom with them. They was having sex with them. Not something they was having sex with these teenagers I was a teenager too, and doing they got doing. You know, it goes on and on and on. We saw the Real Rock Shantae movie, how, you know, he wanted her or whatever. But I don't want to act like, even though they're teenagers, because a lot of teenagers are fast, and the ones I'm talking about in my high school, the ones that was going, they was fast, like they was fast, yo. They wasn't trying to deal with us.
Yeah, if anything, you know, a lot of times that, you know, they wanted to pursue the relationship, you know what I mean, just as much, if not more than you're right. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. And we only talking about our times, not like what's going on. Hey man, it's probably going the same way. If I talk to my nephew, you know what I mean, who's 20, he'd probably tell me the same thing. He'd probably be like, yeah, yo, when I was in high school, boom, boom, you know, like they was going, cause listen, older men want younger women, and younger women want older men. That's
right.
Just been like that since I've been born. You know what I mean? That's how it is.
Well, technically, a person's not mature until what, 25? Is that right?
When everybody doesn't make it, it's because somebody's bitter. People say Dame Dash is bitter. Could he be? I don't see it. But could he been at one point? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? But he had, when they broke up Rapha-El Records, he got a chunk of money. I think it was $25 million to be exact, to run his own label and do stuff. Now, if he got blackballed like they said and all this other stuff, which people was trying to insinuate that they try to, you know, ruin his situation, then I could see him being bitter or whatever. But at the end of the day, he's happy with his grown kids. He has a son, Boogie. He has 2 daughters. One is 18 and just is doing, you know, phenomenal things. And then Jay-Z just had twins last year, and then he has his daughter, Blue Ivy, that's got to be 7 now, because around the same age my daughter. And Biggs just came home from jail, married his daughter's mom, and happy. So they all happy.
I concur. You know what I mean? Like, you can't pick and choose, you know, or you shouldn't pick and choose. You know, you really got to think about what it is that you're doing, and, you know, what are you standing for? You know, are you just, you know, for lack of a better word, jumping the bandwagon? You know what I mean? Because everybody else is talking about a certain subject? Or do you really, you know, feel a certain way? And if you do, then you got to, you know, fight all injustice. Fight, you know what I mean? And speak out against, you know, all situations that are going on, not just one person. You know what I mean? Because, you know, he's not the only person, you know, in that particular situation or being accused of that particular type thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so, you know, everybody got to get it.
The R. Kelly thing, go after more R. Kellys or more situations if y'all want to be respected for what y'all saying. Don't just go after a celebrity. Run the game. Look, don't just fight the cops because they coming to beat y'all up. Stand against the cops every damn day if they doing some bullshit. You know what I mean? That's my thing. What you got to say? What's your end out, Mr. Peace?